My roommate Linda is always a bit scatterbrained. When I had a bad cold, she helped bring me food, but in her absent-mindedness, she mistook wine water for vinegar and poured it over my rice porridge. I had just taken cephalosporin, and after consuming the wine water, I ended up in the emergency room. Not long after, I found myself being harassed by a group of boys. Later, I found out that Linda, in her confusion, had mistaken my photo for her own and posted it in the school singles group. She even ended up dating 8 top-tier ugly guys in one go. No matter how much I explained, those 8 ugly guys didn't believe me. They spread rumors everywhere, claiming I was trying to seduce them. This led to my reputation being ruined and me developing depression. The graduate school recommendation spot I just got was maliciously reported by someone. I went to confront Linda, and she just pouted, constantly poking her hands. Little Linda didn't mean to. Little Linda is just a bit confused and sent the wrong photo. In a fit of anger, I pulled her and jumped from the 18th floor. Opening my eyes again, Linda was lying by my bedside, blinking her eyes. "Jenny, if you have a cold, you should rest well. Little Linda will bring you food." When I opened my eyes again, I was lying on my dormitory bed. My head was dizzy, and my whole body ached. Linda leaned over my bedside, blinking her eyes. "Jenny, take a cephalosporin first and get some good rest." As she spoke, she shoved a cephalosporin pill into my mouth. Seeing this familiar scene before me, I realized I had been reborn. This time, while she went to get water, I secretly spat out the cephalosporin. Linda handed my water cup to me. "Jenny, if you have a cold, you should rest well. Little Linda will bring you food." I glanced at her and spoke coldly. "No need, I'm not hungry." Hearing this, Linda furrowed her brows tightly. In a sweet, coquettish voice, she said, "No way, when you're sick. You need to eat properly. Wait here, little Linda will buy you food. Little Linda must take good care of you." After saying that, before I could even open my mouth, she vanished in a flash. In my previous life, when I caught a cold, Linda kindly gave me some cephalosporin to take. After that, she went to the cafeteria and bought me a bowl of rice porridge, but she forgot to add vinegar in the cafeteria. After returning to the dormitory, Linda absent-mindedly mistook wine water for a small bottle of vinegar and poured it into her soaked rice. I happened to have a cold and couldn't taste anything, so I ate all the soaked rice. Right after finishing, I passed out completely and fell off the stool. It was the dorm supervisor who found me and sent me to the emergency room, saving my life. Later, the counselor found me and asked me to sign a letter of understanding. "Jenny, Linda was just trying to help you out of kindness. Don't make a big deal out of this. It won't look good for the school." Linda stood by my hospital bed, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry, Jenny, Linda is just too scatterbrained, thinking you like vinegar. I wanted to add some for you." Who knew I actually added the wrong thing? After saying this, Linda suddenly knelt by my bedside. "Jenny, I'm really sorry." Hit Linda, scold Linda. It's all because Linda is so scatterbrained, causing you to be hospitalized. If you don't forgive little Linda won't get up. Seeing this, the counselor immediately chimed in. "Look, Linda is sincerely apologizing to you. She's just a bit scatterbrained, but she's not a bad person at heart. You're all roommates, just forgive her." In the end, I couldn't bear to hold a grudge. Thinking that Linda was also worried about me being hungry, she brought me food. Causing me to be hospitalized was also a momentary lapse of judgment, not intentional. I didn't pursue it any further. Just as I was thinking about the events of my previous life, Linda suddenly tiptoed back in. In this life, I did not sleep again. As soon as she entered the door, she softly called my name a few times. I deliberately remained silent. She then tiptoed closer to my bed, stood on her toes, and took a look. Seeing me with my eyes closed, Linda let out a long sigh of relief. She whispered to herself, "Thank goodness he's asleep." Then she walked over to her desk and began rummaging through it. Finally, in the medicine cabinet, she found a box of wine water. Linda cut open the wine water and glanced several times toward my bed. Seeing that I didn't move, she poured the entire box of wine water into my soaked rice. She quickly stirred it to mix well. After a short while, Linda walked toward my bed with the mixed rice, smiling and saying, "Jenny, little Linda bought you your favorite vegetables-soaked rice. Hurry up and get out of bed to eat." Seeing that I hadn't gotten up for a long time, Linda grew anxious. She stomped her foot and spoke slowly, word by word. "Jenny is sick and must eat." Well, with that, she started pulling off my blanket, forcing me to get out of bed. I slowly walked over and looked at the food on the table, puzzled as I asked, "Why is the soup for the vegetable rice porridge brown?" Linda immediately forced a smile. Jenny, I knew you love vinegar. So little Linda added a lot of vinegar for you. My eyes filled with gratitude. Linda, you really care about me. Did you add all this vinegar in the cafeteria? Hearing this, a flicker of panic flashed in Linda's eyes, then she mumbled vaguely, the cafeteria ran out of vinegar, so I borrowed some from someone else. Hurry up and eat. It won't taste good once it gets cold. I smiled and started eating heartily. Soon, half of the vegetable rice porridge was already gone. In my previous life, just after taking a few bites, I felt dizzy. Linda, I feel so dizzy. Linda, full of concern, held me up. Jenny, you must be starving, eat a little more. Just like that, she coaxed me into drinking the soup as well. Seeing that I was about to collapse, she said she had something to do and turned to run out of the dormitory. Later, I fainted on the ground for over 20 minutes before the dorm supervisor found me and took me to the emergency room, seeing that I was completely unresponsive now. Linda was already getting a bit restless, unable to hold back. She asked, Jenny, after eating the kimchi rice, do you feel a little better? While eating, I nodded vigorously. Much better. I feel like I have all my strength back now. I looked up and saw in the mirror that Linda's eyebrows were tightly furrowed. Muttering to myself, I said, it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be. Then, I stood up abruptly, rushed over, took a few bites of my meal, and drank half a bowl of kimchi soup. Linda's face showed even more confusion. After I returned to bed to rest, I heard Linda rummaging through her wine water. Linda muttered to herself, the taste is fine, and it's not expired either. Not long after, Linda started having stomach pains because her menstrual period had arrived. In my previous life, I was in the emergency room fighting for my life. Linda never came to the hospital to see me, claiming she had period cramps and couldn't overexert herself. Later, when I confronted her, the counselor also defended her, saying, you were just hospitalized, but Linda is on her period. Girls should understand girls better. We're all roommates. So let's not make a big deal out of such a small matter. I was awakened by her groans, seeing Linda clutching her stomach in bed. I immediately dragged my sick body to thoughtfully make her a cup of brown sugar water. I also fed her a packet of ibuprofen. After drinking the wine water mixed with ibuprofen, Linda passed out not long after. I was terrified and immediately called my counselor in tears. Linda was unconscious in the hospital for a whole day before she woke up. Counselor James stayed by Linda's side the entire time, taking care of her with great care. Seeing Linda wake up, I pinched my own thigh hard and shed 2 streams of tears. With a face full of concern, she spoke up, Linda, why is your period pain so severe? You even fainted from the pain. Linda tightly gripped the blanket, gritted her teeth, and said with a face full of anger, Jenny, what exactly did you feed little Linda? James's scrutinizing gaze fell on my face. I immediately panicked. I just gave you a packet of pain-relieving ibuprofen. Linda couldn't help but shout, Jenny, do you know that wine water should not be taken together with ibuprofen? I shook my head. Then, she stared at her blankly. But you didn't take wine water either. Linda bit her lip. In your rice porridge. I widened my eyes in confusion. My rice porridge. What's in my food? Realizing this, Linda immediately panicked. No, it's nothing. It was Linda who got confused and accidentally drank wine water. James spoke coldly. Jenny, this is your fault. Linda is on her period. And you didn't take good care of her. You even caused Linda to faint. What kind of roommate are you? Seeing this, Linda immediately acted both wronged and forgiving. Teacher James, please don't blame Jenny. It's Linda who is weak and even faints from menstrual cramps. James's eyes were filled with heartache. Turning around, he said to me sternly, Jenny, you should thank Linda properly for speaking up for you. This time, we won't hold you accountable for your mistake. Don't just focus on studying every day and neglect learning how to be a person. I rolled my eyes at James. Yes, right. James was very angry, but Linda held his hand. Teacher James, I believe Jenny didn't mean it. Please don't be angry. I want to rest. You two should go back first. James stood up and left. I also pretended to leave and secretly hid outside the door in the hot water room. I had just left when James returned to the ward. Linda whimpered and wrapped her arms around James's neck. What should we do now? I still want to secure a spot for graduate school. James smiled, raised his hand, and gently patted Linda's head. Silly girl, don't worry. There's still some time left. Let's think of another way. There are plenty of ways to replace her with you. Linda blinked her eyes and smiled as she looked at the counselor, James. She then gave him a quick kiss on the cheek. James turned his head and looked affectionately at Linda, not caring that they were in a hospital, and suddenly began to take off his clothes. Within 2 minutes, the sound of Linda and James's playful banter could be heard from under the covers. I put away the video recording on my phone and turned to leave, so the two of them had already gotten together long ago. No wonder in my previous life, I was drugged unconscious, and James still had the nerve to ask me to be magnanimous. So it turns out the two of them were accomplices in harming me. Not long after Linda was discharged from the hospital, she insisted on having a thorough cleaning of the entire dormitory. Dear roommates, it's been a while since we cleaned the dorm together. Little Linda wants our dorm to be spotless. Staying like this will be more comfortable and also good for little Linda's recovery. Okay, Luna quickly chimed in. Great, great. It's been a long time since we've had a big cleanup together. Linda, you can assign the tasks. Sherry, who was playing games in her seat, also agreed. Upon hearing this, Linda walked to the center of the dormitory, cleared her throat, and said, "The bathroom is the dirtiest, so Jenny and I will clean the bathroom and the sink together. Luna cleans the balcony. Sherry tidies up the dormitory floor." Everyone expressed no objections. Linda pulled me along to clean the bathroom together. "Jenny, our bathroom is really too dirty. We need to give it a good cleaning later." As he spoke, a fake smile appeared on his face. I smiled and nodded. In my previous life, it was Linda and I who cleaned the bathroom together, but Linda completely ignored my warnings. She poured both 84 disinfectant and toilet cleaner into the toilet, then quickly ran out herself, leaving me to scrub the toilet. I wanted to rush out, but the bathroom door was closed by Linda, and the lock was broken. A few minutes later, I was knocked out by the fumes. After waking up in the hospital bed, Linda cried and leaned over my bedside. "Jenny, I'm sorry. It's all because Linda was too careless. Linda didn't know that bleach and toilet cleaner shouldn't be used together. Linda just wanted the toilet to smell nice. Sherry couldn't stand it any longer. If you wanted the toilet to smell nice, why didn't you clean it yourself instead of making Jenny do it?" "Luna, exactly. Who knows if it's poisonous? You ran so fast yourself," Linda sobbed. "No. Little Linda just wanted to find a rag to wipe it cleaner. Little Linda is too careless, forgetting that the bathroom door lock is broken. Deserves a spanking, deserves a spanking." James looked at Linda, his eyes filled with heartache. "We're all roommates. Linda, cleaning the bathroom is for your own good. She takes on the dirtiest and smelliest tasks herself, and you still blame her. What kind of roommates are you, if you keep targeting Linda? I won't be able to give you a good score on the graduation comprehensive evaluation." Sherry and Luna were angry but didn't dare to say another word. Right now, Linda brought another bottle of 84 disinfectant and a bottle of toilet cleaner. "Little Linda wants the toilet to smell nice. We should pour more into the toilet." As she was about to pour it in, I deliberately shouted, "Don't pour it, don't pour it. It's toxic. It's toxic." Sherry and Luna both ran over to see what was happening. Linda pouted, a smile appearing on her face. "It won't." As soon as the words were spoken, she squeezed half a bottle of 84 disinfectant and half a bottle of toilet cleaner into the toilet. Then, satisfied, she stood up, turned to me, and said, "Jenny, you scrub the toilet first. Little Linda is going out to get a rag." But I was no longer there. I had already run outside the bathroom, and accidentally closed the door behind me. I stood outside the bathroom, panting heavily. "Linda, you go ahead and scrub the toilet first. I'll go out and find a rag." Sherry and Luna spoke in unison. "What's wrong?" I didn't have time to answer. Linda inside started frantically banging on the door, turning the doorknob. "Help, help me, I feel so dizzy." We quickly tried to open the bathroom door together, but it wouldn't open no matter what. With a heavy thud, Linda fell to the ground. Hearing the sound, I gently curled the corner of my mouth. In the end, it was me who picked up a stool and smashed it hard against the door. The door broke, and Linda was finally rescued. Linda remained unconscious in the hospital for a day before waking up. James's face was filled with anger at the sight. "You almost killed Linda, do you know that? Who poured 84 disinfectant and toilet cleaner into the toilet together? How stupid, don't you know that produces chlorine gas?" We trembled with fear, pointing at Linda together. James looked somewhat embarrassed. Linda pouted angrily. "It's all Jenny's fault. Jenny made Linda get poisoned." I twisted my thigh hard, shedding 2 lines of tears. "I told you not to mix 84 disinfectant with toilet cleaner. Why wouldn't you listen? Now you've poisoned yourself and you're blaming me. Why?" I rushed over and shook Linda hard. "Why didn't you listen? Didn't I say it was toxic?" Linda looked aggrieved and spoke in a coquettish tone. Little Linda didn't know it was toxic. I directly slapped Linda hard across the face. Didn't I say it was poisonous? Are you trying to poison all of us on purpose? Linda was stunned by my sudden slap. She stood frozen in place, her eyes red as she stared blankly at me. Sherry spoke up from the side. Jenny did say it, I heard it. Luna also backed me up. Jenny did say it, but you kept insisting it was fine. You even wanted Jenny to clean the toilet, and she got so scared she ran out, accidentally closing the door behind her. Linda sat on the bed, her face filled with the tension and panic of being exposed. Seeing this, James immediately stepped forward to defend Linda. Linda didn't do it on purpose. She just wanted to help everyone clean the dorm thoroughly. She's usually a bit absent-minded. So she probably didn't know that bleach and toilet cleaner shouldn't be mixed. Fortunately, nothing happened this time. Let's just be more careful during future cleanings. As roommates, you shouldn't be too harsh on each other. Try to be more understanding. With that, James left. Linda sobbed as she spoke. I'm sorry. It's just that little Linda is too stupid. Little Linda really didn't know. Little Linda would never want to harm everyone. As she spoke, Linda clenched her fist and began hitting herself on the head, one punch after another. It's all because little Linda is foolish. Little Linda is muddle-headed. She deserves a beating. She deserves a beating. I walked over and gave Linda a hard slap. She really deserves it. Don't be so muddle-headed next time. Then I turned and left, leaving everyone in a daze. 3 days later, Linda was discharged from the hospital. In her previous life, it was around this time that she infiltrated the school's dating and singles group. She used my photos to find a partner. After Linda encouraged everyone in the singles group to share their photos, she selected the 8 ugliest guys and started dating them all at the same time. This time, I had already sneaked into the dating group using a small account. After returning to the dormitory in the evening, Linda posted a photo of me in the dating group. Her online name was still my real name, Jenny. Hello everyone, this is my photo. Looking for a boyfriend. I only like devoted and domineering boys. Shy. Just after posting, a group of boys below followed with photos. Senior, look at me. Senior is so beautiful. I am very devoted. I'm very domineering. Just watch me. Linda picked the 8 ugliest guys and added their contact information. Holding her phone, Linda sent a voice message in a cutesy, high-pitched tone. Do you really like me? You haven't even met me. Oh. You like forced love, huh? So how are you planning to force love me? A low, bubbly voice came from the other side. Baby, when are we meeting? I'll definitely love you hard. First, send me a picture of your thigh. Linda spoke in a coquettish tone. Oh, I'm shy. The low, bubbly voice on the other end said, Baby, I'll send you a big red envelope. Linda smiled and sent a photo of her leg over. Frowning, I walked over. Linda, are you in a relationship? Hearing this, Sherry and Luna immediately became interested. Wow, show us quickly. Linda felt a hint of panic, then blushed and said, I'll show you when Linda's relationship is stable. If Linda confirms the relationship, I'll definitely tell you right away. After some time had passed, Linda invited me to the sports field to watch a football match. In my previous life, it was at this moment that the 8 unattractive men Linda had been chatting with all came looking for me together. Linda seized the opportunity to slip away, claiming she needed to use the restroom, leaving me surrounded by a group of unattractive men. Weren't you calling him husband at every turn? You're pretty quick to accept the red envelope I sent you. Turns out you've hooked so many. Aren't you quite the player? Managed to reel in so many people at once. I was so scared that I kept backing away. Who are you guys? A few boys sneered. We're your boyfriends. We've been chatting for so long. What are you pretending for? You were so sweet online. Why are you scared now? I said I didn't know them, and they immediately pulled out the chat records. The person on the other end had the same WeChat profile picture as me, and the photos they sent were indeed all of me. But all these photos were taken by Linda when we were out having fun. But no matter how I explained, they wouldn't listen. They threatened me, saying I had to be their girlfriend, or they would expose me for scamming money and playing with emotions. I wanted to run, but they surrounded me tightly. Later, a group of male classmates from the same class passed by and rescued me, but the 8 ugly men didn't let me off. They caused a scene in my class while I was teaching. Jenny dated 8 boyfriends, scamming money and emotions. This woman is fickle and irresponsible. The teacher was very angry and punished me by making me leave, saying I was no longer allowed in her classroom. I pulled Linda in front of them and had her explain to them, but the 8 of them simply wouldn't accept it. I used your photo to talk to them, and I don't care. I only recognize you as my girlfriend. I only recognize you as my girlfriend. She looks too ordinary anyway. When we were talking, the name and photo were yours, so you have to take responsibility. Linda pretended to apologize. Jenny, I'm sorry, it's just that little Linda was too careless. Little Linda sent the wrong photo. She always thought your name sounded nice, so she used it as her online alias. Who would have thought everyone would mistake it for you? After Linda finished speaking, she looked apologetically at the 8 boys and said, I'm sorry, brothers. Little Linda was too confused and thought we were just making ordinary friends. Little Linda didn't know this was dating. I hope you can forgive Jenny. The boy was very impatient. Get lost. You're so ugly. Linda shot me a fierce glance, then turned and ran. Don't run. Give the money back. Linda reluctantly returned the money, and only then did the 8 boys let it go. But my reputation was already ruined. As I walked down the street, many boys would deliberately whistle at me. Are 8 enough? Do you want to add me to the mix? It's her. She dated 8 at once. And all of them were ugly. I have fallen into depression and have thought about death several times. This time, I called the police in advance. Linda wanted to slip away before the 8 boys left. I tightly grabbed her wrist. Linda, don't go. Wait and watch the show. Linda froze in place. The show? Soon, 8 ugly men arrived, surrounding us completely. You're Jenny, hooked so many at once. Are you desperate for men? The leading man spoke. I pushed Linda right into him. This is Jenny, the one you're dating, and the photos were stolen from me. The moment she touched the boy, Linda immediately recoiled, looking disgusted. 8 boys sized up Linda. They weren't buying it at all. I used your photo to talk to them, and I don't care. I only recognize you as my girlfriend. I also only recognize you as my girlfriend. She looks too ordinary. Anyway, when we discussed it, the name and photo were yours. So you're responsible. Seeing this, Linda secretly curled the corners of her mouth. I sneered coldly. All right, then let the police handle it. Hearing this, Linda immediately panicked. Jenny, why bother the police with such a trivial matter? Jenny, Linda just thought your name sounded nice, so she used it as her online nickname. She never expected others to misunderstand. Linda is too naive. She thought she was just making ordinary friends with everyone and didn't realize it was actually dating. Seeing that I didn't react, Linda stood with her hands on her hips, shouting at the boys. Linda didn't mean to do it on purpose. Stop harassing Jenny. It's all Linda's fault. Linda sent the wrong photo. Linda will return your stinky money to you ugly guys right now. I'm cutting ties with you. After saying that, Linda returned the money to the 8 people. 8 people were very angry. They couldn't stand hearing others say they were ugly. Several people surrounded Linda and beat him up severely. I was very scared and could only cry while quickly calling the counselor James. After James rushed over, he stood in front of Linda. Stop, all of you stop. I am the counselor. Bullying a female classmate like this is a violation of school rules and discipline. Do you not want to graduate properly? As soon as the words were spoken, the boys exchanged glances and started beating James along with the others, using a chicken feather as a command arrow. Go to hell. I've already been delayed in graduation for a long time. I'm not afraid at all. When Linda started online dating, she deliberately sought out a group of troublemakers who were always ready to stir up trouble. So, in my previous life, they were completely fearless and kept pestering me relentlessly. This time, I watched as James and Linda were brutally beaten by several people. While I was so scared that tears streamed down my face, I secretly felt a sense of joy inside. When a male classmate passed by and wanted to step in to help, I quickly spoke up. It's Linda. She stole my photos to catfish someone online and angered these people. The counselor is inside. She should be able to protect her. Hearing this, everyone also gathered around to watch the excitement. Everyone disliked the counselor because James secretly gave all the benefits to Linda. The achievements of the class collective were also quietly attributed to Linda by James, as a class leader. I went with other classmates to confront James, but he always threatened everyone with graduation and evaluation, and Linda, having taken the benefits, still acted as if it were only natural. It wasn't until more than 10 minutes later that the police arrived. Only then did these few people finally stop. James and Linda had already had several ribs broken from being kicked. All 8 boys were taken away by the police, and both James and Linda were sent to the hospital. After Linda recovered, she was arrested for violating the right of portrait. Linda tearfully explained to the police officer, I really didn't mean to do it. I was just too confused and sent the wrong photo. I really didn't mean to use my roommate's photo for online dating. The police officer looked serious. If it wasn't intentional, how could you have sent it to the wrong 8 people? Linda was left speechless by the retort, along with the evidence that she had used my name and profile picture to chat. Her illegal actions were completely confirmed. Linda publicly apologized to me in front of the whole school and also had to compensate me for my emotional distress. The 8 boys were given a lecture, detained for a few days, and then expelled from school. They will never bother me again. After Linda returned, she started blaming me. Jenny, why are you so petty? Linda just accidentally sent the wrong photo. And you even called the police? You wicked woman. I furrowed my brows tightly. Linda, if I hadn't called the police, both you and the counselor would have been beaten to death. Sherry couldn't stand it any longer. Linda, are you out of your mind? Jenny saved you. Why are you blaming her? And why are you using someone else's photo for online dating, and dating a bunch of ugly people at the same time? It's really disgusting. Linda pouted angrily. Little Linda just felt lonely and wanted to make a few friends, not date 8 people at once. I couldn't help but clap my hands. All right, I really shouldn't have called the police to save you. You should have just made friends with those people. They've been released now. You can continue being friends with them. Linda was left speechless by the retort. Furious, she picked up her textbook and slammed it hard on the desk. Who cares about using your photo? Who cares? I walked over and slapped her hard across the face. Linda covered her face, looking aggrieved. Jenny, what on earth do you want? I extended my hand, holding a dead mosquito covered in blood. Linda shouted angrily, you just wanted to hit Linda on purpose. You did it on purpose. You did it on purpose. Sherry, Luna, you be the witnesses. Jenny slapped me, but no one in the dorm paid any attention to her. Sherry said, there are too many mosquitoes in the dorm, we should get rid of them. Luna added, yes, those nasty mosquitoes. It would be best to kill them all. Jenny, thank you for your hard work. Linda ran out crying angrily. She didn't come back all night. The next day, James sent me a message. Jenny, why did you hit your roommate? Your moral character needs improvement. Do you still want to secure a postgraduate recommendation? James is trying to threaten me with the postgraduate recommendation again. In my previous life, he teamed up with Linda to report me for having poor character, claiming I was dating 8 people at once and shouldn't be recommended for postgraduate studies. He even threatened to expose the situation and embarrass the school if I continued to receive the recommendation. I was eliminated on the last day of the public announcement. After finding out, I went to confront Linda. She just pouted and kept poking her hands. Little Linda didn't mean to. Little Linda was just a bit confused and sent the wrong photo. Little Linda doesn't know who deliberately reported you, and little Linda feels very sad for you too. In a fit of anger, I pulled her and jumped from the 18th floor. James, Jenny, although you have passed the postgraduate recommendation interview, it doesn't mean you are guaranteed a spot. I sent him the mosquito and the blood-stained photo. Teacher James, Linda is slandering me. You need to stand up for me. I didn't hit her. I was swatting a mosquito. James was left speechless. Soon, the list of students eligible for graduate school admission without taking the entrance exam was announced. This time, I took the initiative and sent the video of James and Linda at the hospital to the school leadership's email. James and Linda were just about to go together to slander me in front of the school leadership, and they happened to walk right into the line of fire. The dean threw the phone to James. What is this? Don't you know that teachers are strictly forbidden from dating their own students? In the video, the conversation between Linda and James, as well as the footage of the 2 undressed in the hospital bed, were crystal clear. James collapsed to the ground in fear. Hastily shifting the blame onto Linda, Dean, it wasn't me, it was Linda, she seduced me. Linda looked at James in shock. It was clearly you who said that if I slept with you, you'd guarantee my graduate school admission. James pushed Linda to the ground. You're lying. It's because you didn't study hard and wanted to secure a spot, so you seduced me. It's all your fault. Dean, please, let me go. I have a wife and children to take care of at home. I can't lose my job. The dean angrily slapped James hard across the face. You scoundrel, get out, get out, get out. The affair between Linda and James quickly spread throughout the school. Whenever Linda stepped outside, everyone pointed fingers at her. That's her, the one who got involved with a married instructor. For the sake of securing a graduate recommendation, she's even willing to sacrifice herself. She's really going all out. It seems she was dating 8 unattractive guys at the same time before. She really has no standards, average looking, but quite the player. Linda broke down, explaining over and over, James deceived me, I was deceived, but no one paid her any attention. People were only interested in the gossip, not in what was right or wrong, just like me in my previous life, crushed by rumors and unable to turn things around. After the incident escalated, I applied for an off-campus internship. Not long after, James was fired. As for Linda, it said her condition has been getting worse and worse. She often walks alone on campus, crying and laughing at the same time. It's not my fault, it's not my fault, damn James, why did you harm me? A month later, Sherry sent me a message, Jenny, you don't know, Linda has gone crazy. She ran out without clothes this morning, streaking around the school. The school has already had her parents take her back. Serves her right. Looking at these messages, I couldn't help but curl up the corners of my mouth. In this lifetime, I finally avenged myself, and I successfully secured a recommendation for admission to the school I had my heart set on. After 6 months of internship, I returned to school and took graduation photos with Sherry and Luna. Before graduation, we went to see the sea together, and climbed mountains to watch the sunrise and sunset. Watching the sky filled with the glow of dawn, 2 lines of tears streamed from my eyes. There is still a bright future waiting for us ahead. Fortunately, it's not too late for everything. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My closest roommate is the daughter of a wealthy family. When I ordered a 10 yuan takeout meal, she criticized me for not considering my parents and spending so much on food, because I didn't set an alarm. I missed a 1-cent red envelope in the off-campus fruit group chat. She said I spend money recklessly and don't know how to be considerate of my parents. During a phone argument with my boyfriend, I got so angry that I blurted out, if I had known you were like this, I should have let her have you back then. She said that as my good friend, she would monitor my every word and action, and would never allow me to behave like a bad kid in the slightest. Throughout my 4 years of college, I became, in her words, a gossip-loving, promiscuous, unsophisticated country bumpkin and an unfilial daughter. After jumping from the 7th floor, I found myself back on the day she had just returned to the dormitory from her boyfriend's house. I took out the half-eaten takeout from lunch and placed it in a small pot to heat up. My roommate, Zhong Qing, suddenly started arguing with someone on the phone. Are you out of your mind? You bought a $6 skin without even discussing it with me. You're always so stingy when I ask you to buy me a lipstick. You're unbelievable. Her voice was so loud that it drowned out the sizzling sound of the oil in the small pot in front of me. Damn it, if I had known this idiot was like this, I should have just let you have him back then. Yanxi, Zhongqing threw her phone onto the bed, walked over to me, and agreed. See, I told you, your family's situation isn't good, and even the cheapest takeout, you have to split into 2 meals. The foul smell from her body grew stronger at the tip of my nose, and I couldn't help but frown. Don't forget to set the alarm for 5:30 p.m. You need to be quick to grab that red envelope, she reminded me with concern, bending down to open my drawer and taking out a roll of trash bags. Why did you buy so many trash bags again? They're not free. I really don't know how your parents raised you. Spending money so recklessly. Don't you ever think about your father working under the sun and wind on the construction site when you spend money? Your mother works hard every day to earn a little money, and you're spending it recklessly like this. Don't you feel any guilt at all? I don't know how many times this kind of scene has happened over the past 4 years. At first, I just felt something wasn't right, but it was true that my family was poor. And it was also true that I spent money carelessly. Whenever I felt something was off and wanted to argue back, Zhong Qing would question me in a reproachful tone. This is your first time being so far from home, and also the first time you've had so much money in your hands, right? Spending money recklessly as soon as you have it. Have you ever considered the parents who worked hard to support you? They don't even dare to catch a cold. Afraid that you won't have enough money to stay in school, but you still treat money so carelessly. Surely you don't want your parents to still be out there earning money for you when they're in their 70s or 80s, do you? I was left speechless by the retort, only daring to order 1 10-yuan takeout meal a day. I would eat a little at noon, and in the evening, I would heat up the remaining half using the small pot left behind by a graduating senior. I needed to work part-time to support my studies, but she said that as her best friend, I should stay in the dormitory to study and play with her. At night, stomach pain woke me up. I stood on the 7th floor balcony, letting the wind blow for a long time, and finally leaped down. Yanxi, that's the situation. What do you think of my boyfriend? My roommate, Zhong Qing, was staring at me intently, as if my next words would have a significant impact on her. Yanxi, you're my best friend. I believe you'll definitely consider things for me. The moment my mind cleared, I knew I had been reborn. At that moment, Zhong Qing went to meet her boyfriend's parents and came back to tell me and another roommate about her boyfriend's family situation. My gaze drifted to her phone on the table. I knew that our conversation just now had been heard clearly by her boyfriend. In my previous life, she once said I was her best friend. I foolishly asked a lot about the man's family situation. And upon hearing that he only had an elderly grandmother at home, I straightforwardly expressed my disapproval, especially since his family was in debt. My roommate had a baby face, and from her description, her parents were in business, owning both a house and a car. She is a child who has been pampered since childhood. The family backgrounds are not very suitable, and besides, they have only been dating for about a month. I expressed at length how unsuitable the two of them were. Thinking I would get her response, instead, I saw her pick up her phone and speak in a coquettish tone. "Baby, did you hear that? That's what Yenchi said about you. You better start working hard to make money." In my past life, I was just too foolish. With just one line, "I'm her best friend," I naively believed everything she said. That allowed her to gradually suppress and brainwash me, until I became so depressed that I couldn't control the urge to end my own life, in this life. I turned my gaze to another roommate in the dorm. This time, I want to learn from her. "Wow, your boyfriend is so good to you. I'm so envious. Why can't I find such an excellent boyfriend?" She instantly beamed with joy, looking extremely smug. "Of course, just look at who I am." Back then, several girls were chasing him, and he would call me every day complaining about how annoying they were. Finally, she confessed to me in tears, saying she couldn't live without me. I was utterly disgusted by her fake, high-pitched voice, while my roommate Su Yuan, with her big wavy hair, stood beside me. She deliberately ran up to Zhongqing with exaggerated excitement and praised her. "You're so amazing, both beautiful and smart. You two are a perfect match. It makes me so envious I could drool. Oh my, which direction should I pray to find such a great partner?" Su Yuan is the most diligent person I've met in all 4 years of college. She gets up at 5:30 every morning to study in the library and doesn't return until 10:30 at night. Even after showering, she still reviews key points before bed. Scholarships. I've won almost every major competition I could participate in. In my previous life, I wasn't in the same class as the other 3 in my dorm, so we usually only had classes together for large lectures. Apart from Zhongqing, I had very little interaction with the other 2, at this time. The 4th person in the dorm often contradicted Zhongqing. She had long since been thrown out of the dormitory, along with her luggage, and Su Yuan often praised Zhongqing with surprising remarks for some rather unethical things. This led to my not having a very good impression of her. Under Su Yuan's repeated praises, Zhongqing even looked back at Su Yuan with an expression that said, "You have good taste," just as the praise was in full swing. Su Yuan suddenly changed the topic and began to ask, "Where do you find your partners?" "I chat on those apps every day, but I can't seem to find a decent man." "Where do I find them?" "Of course, I find them around me." Zhongqing's expression grew even more smug and flamboyant as she said with a laugh, "I met him through gaming. My skills are top-notch, and after every game, a bunch of people add me. So many that I can't even click through them all." Exactly, Zhongqing is beautiful, has a sweet voice, and is highly skilled. If I had your qualities, I'd be laughing in my dreams. Su Yuan probably never expected that one day I would be so cooperative with her performance, giving me a surprised glance. In an instant, a silent conspiracy began. No one can resist praise. Zhongqing was clearly overjoyed but still pretended to be sad, lowering her head. "Not really. It's just that his family background isn't very good, and we still have many difficulties to overcome together." I imagine the boyfriend on the other end of the phone must have been deeply moved. As soon as Zhongqing finished speaking, Su Yuan immediately chimed in, "What's there to fear about temporary difficulties? You're an outstanding person yourself, and you just mentioned that your boyfriend is hardworking and ambitious. When the time comes, you two can start a business together, and you'll be rich in no time." In front of such a genius, even if I studied every night before bed, I still couldn't compare. The urge to compare suddenly surged. "I think Su Yuan is right. You mentioned before that you could get into our school even if you fell asleep during the college entrance exam, which proves you truly have both luck and ability. When you start a big company, forget about BMWs and Mercedes-Benzes. Even Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Rolls-Royces will just be your daily drivers, chosen based on your mood." Exactly, and don't forget about Lincolns, Bugatti Veyrons, Panameras, and Aston Martins, one of each in different colors and models. It felt as if a competitive stage had been set up between Su Yuan and me. "Love is the answer on our exam paper. I'm going to hold on to your coattails now. When you start a big company, I just hope President Zhong will remember our time as roommates and give me an internship certificate. I was about to respond when Zhongqing interrupted disapprovingly, my company doesn't hire just anyone, but I can reluctantly issue you an internship certificate. If you want to intern, it still depends on your abilities. Seeing this, I chimed in at the right moment. Su Yuan, don't start dreaming as soon as it gets dark. If you don't have a master's degree from a top-tier university, you can forget about getting into our CEO Zhong's company. You might as well go be a cleaner. Hearing me say that, Su Yuan immediately followed up, what master's? It has to be a PhD, at the very least. At least I could be a cleaner. You wouldn't even get through the door. I'd work part-time as a security guard just to stop you. She looks like a cool, glamorous bombshell, but as soon as she opens her mouth, I'm completely outmatched. I want to learn from her, chase her, become her, surpass her. Zhongqing, by nature, is quite arrogant. With the two of us showering her with praise one after another, she has already started fantasizing about her future life as a wealthy woman. She no longer paid any attention to us two poor and struggling college students. She picked up her phone and ran to the bathroom to call her dear boyfriend. As soon as she left, the dorm instantly fell silent, with such a shocking oddball like her around. The rapport between Su Yuan and me improved by leaps and bounds. Su Yuan winked at me and then sat down to continue reading and doing her homework. In that moment, I was reminded of the same atmosphere from my past life, but at that time, I was already showing signs of depression, unable to control my body from trembling and tears flowing. That day, Su Yuan happened to be studying in the dormitory due to some urgent matters. When she saw me crying, she just assumed I had been scolded by Zhongqing. Why bother arguing with someone like her? No matter how much she reads or studies, she's still a hopeless neurotic. Whatever she says, just agree with her. It's not worth ruining your own mood over it. It was those words that made everything click for me. My thoughts suddenly became clear, and I understood many things, but in the end, the illness overcame me. Fortunately, things have returned to the way they were at the very beginning. I glance at the other empty bed in the dormitory. Suddenly, I start to envy those who have long since escaped this sea of suffering. At night, we had already turned off the lights and were lying in bed, trying to fall asleep, while Zhongqing's high-pitched, girlish voice kept calling out, "Husband, you're so amazing, keep it up, husband." Su Yuan's health was poor, and she had to take medication year-round. The doctor had advised her to go to bed early and on time. After tossing and turning and holding back for a long time, I couldn't help but speak up. "Zhongqing, you two are just too clingy. You only parted ways at home at noon, and now you're showing off your affection so late at night over the phone." As soon as Su Yuan finished speaking, both of us thought Zhongqing would continue to show off her affection. After all, she has always claimed to be a devoted and charming person who captivates thousands. Unexpectedly, she suddenly turned off her voice and whispered, "Not this, keep your voices down." The dormitory instantly fell into complete silence, and it was only later that we realized, even though she has a boyfriend who has met her parents, but in the game's WeChat, there are still my husband, baby, brother, older brother, and Simp 123. Oh dear husband, I was just calling another roommate earlier. I definitely only like you. Alright, you caught me. I really didn't tell you my real name. I've been using my roommate's name all along. You're so smart, husband. It wasn't until laughter from a man came through the game that Zhongqing thoughtfully reminded, "Husband, it's very late now. That roommate who's showing off affection also needs to sleep. Let's stop talking." Two greasy, disgusting smooches echoed in my ears, growing louder and louder. Sometimes I really wish I could move out of the dorm immediately and escape this misery. Zhongqing and her boyfriend's relationship is progressing very well. In just 2 short months, he went from boyfriend to fiancé. During late-night chats, Zhongqing always takes great pride in sharing with us the mischief they get into as a couple, as well as their little quirks when sleeping together. Even though I am well-read and knowledgeable, I still find myself unable to smoothly and naturally join in the conversation with praise like Su Yuan does when faced with such topics. I feel inferior in comparison. My mind keeps replaying the related topics she talked about in my past life. Finally, I mustered the courage to give a compliment. "Your boyfriend is really amazing, and you're even more incredible." Probably used to hearing all sorts of praise every day, it was the first time she heard such a simple and unadorned compliment from me. Zhongqing was both proud and disdainful. "Tisk, sis has slept with plenty of men. You country bumpkin really haven't seen the world." I'm not really keen on seeing that kind of world, but then Zhongqing's tone shifted, unusually bashful. "However, my boyfriend has a cuckolding fetish. He's been urging me lately to find other boyfriends quickly. As you know, I have quite a few boyfriends, but he wants to watch me with someone else in person, and I feel a bit embarrassed. I was utterly shocked and quickly opened my phone to search for the keywords on Baidu. Suyuan didn't respond for a while, probably also trying desperately to understand this piece of Chinese. But women like you, who no one wants, probably wouldn't understand me. After all, with just a wave of my hand, plenty of men come running to me. Then, imitating the tone of a celebrity, she said, "There are plenty of men out there." What she said next was dialogue that wouldn't even pass censorship if written down. Suyuan and I hid under the bed curtain, trembling, yet we had to pretend to be calm and cheer her on with likes, just when I thought they were a perfect match. A broken pot fitting a broken lid. A turtle meeting its turtle, and we're about to be locked in for good. The gently pushed open dormitory door let me hear the word inheritance. As summer vacation approached, I went out with friends to look for summer job opportunities. When I returned, it was already around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. As usual, Zhongqing was probably taking a nap at this hour. "Mom, the situation is exactly as I just described. I'm really conflicted right now. That boy's family is quite wealthy." Recalling Zhongqing's recent behavior and the events of the previous life, I roughly understood what was being discussed. At this time, Zhongqing had a stable relationship with her fiancé, and they had done almost everything, both normal and abnormal. The couple's relationship had entered a dull phase. Coincidentally, Zhongqing met a young master in the game who lived in the urban area of Beijing, came from a wealthy family, and was 2 years younger than her. The infinitely charming Zhongqing naturally won him over quickly, and within just a few days, their relationship became inseparable, flourishing and intense. "Now, are you looking to your mother for emotional analysis? Here's what you should do. Don't break up with Xiao Lin right away. Keep him hanging on for now. First, make sure of your relationship with that young master. Once you two have settled things and your relationship is confirmed, dump him as soon as possible. After all, you're about to graduate anyway, then you can just follow him to Beijing. Even if Xiao Lin comes looking for you at home, it won't matter. You brought him to your dad's place before, so let him cause trouble for your dad." Ha 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 ha. The simultaneous laughter from both inside and outside the phone sent chills down one's spine. "Okay, Mom, I won't disturb you and Uncle while you sleep." I stood outside the dormitory door for quite a while before daring to go in. Indeed, the ways of the despicable are passed down through generations. Ordinary people can't even begin to grasp the tricks of the trade. It wasn't until evening when Suyuan returned from the library, took a shower, and lay down, just listened to Zhongqing sighing with a sigh. "I feel like my boyfriend doesn't love me anymore." Boyfriend? For a moment, I didn't know which one she was talking about. "Ah, it's my fiancé." If a man doesn't spend money on a woman, doesn't that mean he doesn't love her? I wanted to buy a Gucci bag, but he hesitated and was reluctant to buy it. Isn't that just not loving me? Hearing this, the corner of my mouth twitched. "You, a wealthy young lady who sets alarms to snatch deals for even a single cent, are asking a man who might not even earn 3,000 a month for such a bag." The fact that he only hesitated instead of outright refusing, that's true love. I'm moved to tears. How could he be so unreasonable? It said online that the underlying logic behind a man not spending money on a woman is that he thinks she's not worth the price. What does he mean by that? Does he think you're not worthy? Suyuan's accusatory tone sounded even more indignant than the person involved, so naturally, I wasn't about to back down. I immediately opened TikTok and started watching while speaking. Money is a man's way of expressing his feelings. What does he want to do now? "You're stunningly beautiful, gentle and considerate, kind and generous, clever and wise. It's his good fortune for 8 lifetimes that you even noticed him. If it weren't for your loyalty and deep affection, would he even have a chance? If I had even half of what you have, I'd be dating a different man every day. He really doesn't know how lucky he is. In my opinion, while money can't measure feelings, it can filter out the trash. A man like that isn't worth keeping." I repeated the analysis word for word from those online relationship bloggers, only to hear Suyuan start praising me again. "Exactly, you need to wake up, sister. Open your eyes and look at the men around you. How are they any less than your boyfriend? Do you think they chat with you every day just because they're talkative? It's because they all like you so much. You're going to be a wealthy woman running a big company and making big money in the future. Wouldn't it be better to pick those good-looking, obedient pretty boys? Do you know how much Yan Shi and I secretly envy you? We wish we could switch souls with you every moment to experience the charm of a stunning beauty." I was shocked inside, and after my brain went into overdrive, I came to a conclusion. Suyuan must have also been watching relationship gurus on her phone. Don't you dare talk about my fiancé like that. He's a graduate student from a prestigious university. It's just that the job market is tough right now. Watching her desperately try to justify herself, while also wanting to make it clear that she didn't break up with her ex because he was poor, was just bizarre. It was so absurd it was almost unbelievable. Besides, I know her boyfriend too, Lin Bo, the so-called graduate student from a prestigious university, was actually just a laborer at the construction site across from the campus, coincidentally. I worked part-time at a milk tea shop across from that school for a while during the summer break. Over time, I got to know Lin Bo and his group of friends, so, in my previous life, when I heard that Zhong Qing was dating a graduate student, I didn't think much of it. I just thought it was a strange coincidence. Lin Bo's childhood friend told me that when they were in junior high school, they touched a few little girls out of curiosity, because their families had no money. The school took advantage of their honesty and bullied them into dropping out. After going around in circles, they ended up working at this construction site. At that time, I had been single for 20 years and had never been in a relationship. His handsome face had me flirting with him for a long time, and just as I was getting serious and planning to confess, I found out he had deleted me. In my past life, I kept replaying and analyzing my memories, only to realize it was because I often mentioned in the dorm that I had a very handsome friend. Bees honking kept urging me to invite him to play games together. 5 days later, I was deleted. A week later, Zhong Qing went to see her boyfriend. A month later, she met his parents. Now, with the appearance of the Beijing playboy, this so-called graduate student from a prestigious university is about to be out of the picture. If you ask me, you should date 7 or 8 of them at once. Then compare and keep the best one. Look at you, every inch of you, down to the strands of your hair, screams excellence. Dating a few more is only natural. Probably not expecting Su Yuan to be so straightforward, she directly and clearly stated Zhong Qing's intentions. Don't be like that. I still love my boyfriend very much. Those guys sometimes aren't gentlemanly at all. They're so annoying. Zhong Qing thought about the guys she had been chatting with recently and realized that none of them were as patient as before, nor were they willing to accommodate her completely. She had already complained about it several times in the dorm. They're all toads dreaming of eating swan meat. Listen to me, once you find a tall, rich, and handsome guy who loves and cherishes you, dump them immediately and make them regret not treasuring you. It wasn't until I finished saying this that Zhong Qing finally picked up her phone with satisfaction to play games. Zhong Qing's summer vacation was quite comfortable. As soon as I entered the dormitory, I smelled a fishy odor that was earlier and stronger than in my previous life. The smell was like that of a used sanitary pad with blood, left in a bathroom trash can for several days during a scorching hot day of 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. It's just that this time it's stronger and lasts longer. Ugh, I remember in my previous life, I was so overwhelmed by the smell that I began to question my existence, and I even thought I was being tactful when I reminded her, "Can you smell something in the dorm?" I thought she would say no or something, but instead she said, "It's the earthy smell on you." The sudden strong, fishy smell at the tip of my nose almost made me pass out. Zhong Qing ran up to me, holding up her bag proudly. "Look, this is a gift from my boyfriend." Even though I don't know much about luxury brands, the large Gucci logo on the black leather chain bag was unmistakable. I also know that this bag is not cheap. This is the luxury brand bag Gucci I told you about. Today, you finally get to see it for yourself. Zhongqing twirled around in front of me with the bag on her back, constantly swaying, as expected of you, wealthy, elegant, and with great taste. This bag truly suits you. With that, she twisted even more vigorously, as if planning to perform a ballet routine in the dormitory. Just as so, I've been carrying it for a while now, and the novelty has worn off. Looks like it's destined to gather dust in my cabinet. She slowly set down the bag in her hand and casually opened the wardrobe. Instantly, the unblocked bags inside tumbled out. I'm not very familiar with designer bags and can only barely recognize the ones with prominent logos: Gucci, Celine, Dior, Saint Laurent. It seems she's getting along well with that young master from Beijing. Oops, I dropped everything. Zhongqing hurriedly placed her bag in the most conspicuous spot, making sure the logo was visible. I followed her train of thought and asked, "Did your boyfriend give you all these?" "That's amazing. These bags look so expensive that even if I sold myself, I couldn't afford them. You'd have to find someone willing to buy you first. These bags of mine are world-famous brands that are hard to get even if you try. My boyfriend gave them to me just because I glanced at them a few times. but I love my boyfriend and don't really care about these things. I just wish he could spend more time with me. I don't understand it either. On one hand, she wants to show off how attractive she is and how many men are after her, and on the other hand, she wants to portray herself as loyal and deeply in love. She really is as arrogant and conceited as I imagined, taking our exaggerated compliments as the truth. I've only been on campus for a short while, but I've already heard quite a few people complain to me about Zhongqing being narcissistic and arrogant. In the end, they all looked at me with sympathy, saying I've had a tough time these years. Girls from the neighboring classes and dorms don't want to associate with her, but she doesn't seem to care. She prefers to have boyfriends rather than girlfriends, and she sees the attitudes of those girls as nothing but envy and jealousy. Not long after, Suyuan experienced the same situation as I did. The bag placed in the wardrobe fell out again. Oh my god, I've only seen these brands in short sentences from domineering CEO novels. Thank you, President Zhong, for showing me the world. I won't wash my hands tonight. These are the hands that have touched world-famous brands. After a summer break, Suyuan's skill in complimenting others has improved even more. Damn it, I will definitely surpass her, I silently swore in my heart, as the forcefully kicked open door behind me pushed me forward. Which one of you is Zhongqing? The sudden appearance of the woman visibly made Zhongqing tense up. Her voice trembled slightly as she pointed at me. She is Zhongqing. Damn, I think praising someone to death is too slow. Using a knife is much faster. Yan Shi, Vice Minister of the Student Union's Academic Department. There's a photo of me on it, with my hand resting on the table. I casually picked up the work badge on it. I was genuinely afraid that if I explained too slowly, the furious girl in front of me would reach out and slap me the next second. Fortunately, the other party seemed furious but still had some sense left. The girl quickly glanced around at me and Suyuan, her gaze lingering on the handbag in Zhongqing's hand. You're chasing after someone to be a mistress, yet you don't dare admit your own name. Are you the kind of person with no upbringing, no sense of propriety or shame? You know the other person has a wife, yet you rush to be a mistress. These handbags look nice, don't they? But have you ever considered if you're even worthy of them? Slap. A resounding slap provoked a passionate counterattack, but as soon as he stood up, he was held back by the girl's close friends behind her. Don't you have any shame? How does your school teach its students? Shamelessly acting as the other woman. A few bags and you're bought off. You're so cheap and worthless. What kind of person are you? I spit on you. The dormitory entrance quickly filled with people, pointing and whispering, dragging both me and Suyuan into the scolding. Zhongqing, despite being beaten black and blue, still didn't forget to ask the two of us for help. And the friends the girl brought along began to look at us with increasingly unfriendly eyes. To protect ourselves and also because we were fed up with this bizarre situation, I simply called the police. The incident had escalated quite a bit and was rather embarrassing. Along with the police, the counselor and homeroom teacher also arrived. The girl who hit someone had a strong attitude, looking like she was ready to make a scene to the end. Zhongqing, crying and sobbing, fell into the counselor's arms seeking comfort, constantly muttering that the girl who hit her should pay compensation. The surrounding foul smell was really strong, and the counselor, who was the first to bear the brunt, looked extremely displeased, frantically pinching his nose one moment and patting Zhongqing's back the next. You're an ugly woman with a bad temper. It's strange that brother A Yuan likes you. Besides, in a relationship, the one who isn't loved is the third party. You're clearly the one being the mistress. Under her self-righteous self-justification, the homeroom teacher's face turned ashen, wishing he could immediately find a crack in the ground to crawl into rather than admit that this was a student from his own college. I will pay every penny owed for the assault. Here is a detailed breakdown, along with evidence that my husband used our joint marital assets to buy luxury items for this mistress. I now have the right to reclaim these expenses. Densely packed A4 papers were filled with various expenses, and there was more than just one sheet. It seems Zhongqing didn't manage to hold on to that young master from Beijing and has switched to a man who is already married. I really don't know what's going on in her head. After calculating everything, even if the losses from Zhongqing's injury were adjusted to the maximum, after making deductions and adjustments, she still had to compensate the other party with 50,000 yuan. She was busy contacting that boyfriend, and the girl also sat there, insisting she wouldn't leave until she was compensated immediately. It went on until late at night, with the guy unreachable. No matter how much Zhongqing made a fuss, 50,000 yuan still needs to be paid. Zhongqing, your family is so wealthy. 50,000 yuan is just a drop in the bucket, something that can be resolved with a blink of an eye. I never expected Su Yuan to still be able to boast at this moment, it's just that her voice was soft, and only the three of us heard it. At this point, Zhong Qing is still unwilling to accept it, looking at the homeroom teacher with pleading eyes and begging, "Teacher, my family is strict and controls my allowance tightly. I can't come up with this much money in a short time, and this older sister clearly doesn't lack money. Why is she so insistent on getting these 50,000 yuan right away?" The homeroom teacher, who had hardly spoken since entering the room, was now truly rendered speechless. His fingers trembled in the air as if he had been gesturing in sign language for a long time. "I'm not in a hurry for money, but I'm in a hurry to see you lose face. I thought you were a somewhat capable seductress, but it turns out you're just a delivery service." The girl's disdainful up and down look provoked Zhong Qing to curse. "You're already old and faded. Brother A Yuan says I'm beautiful and charming, you'd better not get too smug now. If he loved you, he wouldn't have come to me. You can't compare to me, and sooner or later, he'll dump you." This statement didn't shock me or Su Yuan, but it certainly left the counselor and homeroom teacher stunned. The girl's best friend was so angry she was hopping mad. She rushed out to hit someone but was stopped by the policewoman, so she could only point and curse in frustration. "You're really huffing and puffing when someone says you're fat. You're just a few piles of shit that Lu Yuan's worthless dog ate on the roadside, and you actually think you're true love. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? You stink so bad that I'm afraid of getting a gynecological disease just being in the same room with you." Zhong Qing was used to being pampered by us, and hearing this made her tremble with anger, but she couldn't even let out half a fart. Her tear-filled eyes glared at me and Su Yuan, demanding why we weren't speaking up for her. Su Yuan and I shook our heads, looking around everywhere but refusing to meet her gaze. Zhong Qing, feeling isolated and helpless, lay in the counselor's arms, shedding tears and pretending to be dead. "Stop pretending to be dead, hurry up and pay back the money. Do you think a whole group of people wants to smell your stench in the middle of the night?" I have to admit, that attack was on point. It just suddenly occurred to me that the dormitory shares a washing machine. Will you really get sick if you get close to the stench on her? Holding Su Yuan, I trembled in the corner, and the counselor also began urging her to transfer the money quickly. Zhong Qing, who usually claims that a single suitcase costs tens of thousands and has hundreds of thousands in financial funds in her Alipay account. She stood there fiddling with her phone for a long time, unwilling to say a word. "Tisk. Your dear A Yuan loves you so much, yet he hasn't transferred money to solve your problems after all this time. On the way here, I even heard you were a rich young lady. Is that all? You're quite the actress, aren't you?" The girl's best friend delivered her lines with steady precision, and Zhong Qing's face visibly flushed and paled in patches. Maybe my approach was wrong. Building someone up only to tear them down is slow and just ends up hurting myself. How much better it is to be a machine gunner who fires at everyone in sight. Once the words are out, my mood instantly lifts. Zhong Qing is someone who bullies the weak and fears the strong. As long as you push back hard enough and stand your ground firmly, she will still be afraid of you. But if you show even the slightest hint of timidity, or if she discovers that you are actually easy to bully, it's easy to revert to the outcome of the previous life. However, it seems that the strategy of praising to kill is still effective for now. The current Zhong Qing wouldn't even think of snatching a single cent from a red envelope, let alone setting an alarm specifically for it like she did in her previous life. Now, Zhong Qing's arrogance and vanity have reached new heights. The clothes she wears, the things she holds, the food, drinks, and items she uses are no longer of the same standard as in her previous life. She fiddled with her phone, dragging her feet and unwilling to pay, which wore out the patience of both the counselor and the homeroom teacher. They pulled her aside to a corner, half persuading and half threatening her, and finally managed to resolve the matter after half an hour. Surprisingly, Zhong Qing paid the money back herself without borrowing from anyone. After that day, I didn't see her for a long time. It was already senior year, and everyone was either skipping class or doing internships. So not seeing someone was perfectly normal. It was precisely because of her departure that Su Yuan and I were able to enjoy the belated college life. The dormitory's atmosphere became clearer, and our daily routines returned to normal. In my 4th year of university, I visited all 4 libraries on campus for the first time. It wasn't until just before winter break, when the academic advisor called everyone back to school to choose research topics, that I saw her again. She had become noticeably thinner and more haggard, and the strong mix of perfume and a foul odor made her an instant celebrity on the school's confession wall. For a while, the sales of masks and disinfectants around the campus skyrocketed. The the confession wall even created a group to post her whereabouts and status anytime, anywhere. She went to the first cafeteria, and business there was extremely dismal that day. She went to the small grove, and the couples on campus tacitly changed their intimate spots. She went to the sports field, and the scheduled microphone singer called in sick with a sore throat, but she rarely went out, insisting on staying in the dorm to torment me and Su Yuan. She flaunted her wealth by showing off a dress she claimed was the only one of its kind in the entire northern city. The next second, she would furiously curse the guy who only said he liked her but wasn't willing to spend money on her, calling him a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. She would ask a guy who had just added her as a friend to buy her the latest iPhone, who would be willing to do that. What if they add you as a friend just to scold you? When applying for an internship, they refuse to work for less than 10,000 yuan in salary, pointing at the HR's nose and calling them snobbish. Holding a plain resume that only lists their education and course descriptions, they criticize every company at the autumn recruitment fair from start to finish. Finally, the counselor arranged for someone to carry the person away while wearing a mask. In the end, she even made a shocking remark: "Yan Shi, why don't you handle my graduation project for me too? Once my company is set up, I'll give you a front desk position," using the joke I made for her as a promise to feed me. At least capitalists have a PowerPoint presentation. Isn't writing papers for others illegal? Besides, with my mediocre skills, what I write would only tarnish your reputation as a top student. I'm not worthy. She then turned her gaze to Su Yuan, who remained silent, picked up her phone, and pulled me out of the room. For the sake of our safety, we ultimately decided to stay at a hotel. Zhong Qing's expression was twisted, almost like he had gone mad. We were genuinely afraid that he might stab someone in the middle of the night and not even be held legally responsible. I didn't dare go back, staying outside with Su Yuan, but I did hear quite a bit about Zhong Qing. She ended up on the confession wall again, in different ways, though the posts were taken down so quickly I never saw them myself. I vaguely heard she owed a lot of money and was being chased by debt collectors at school, but I only got bits and pieces of the story. The next day, when I went to the office to submit some materials, the counselor hesitantly asked a few questions. "How's the atmosphere in your dorm lately? Is it safe?" I was a bit confused, but I answered truthfully, "Su Yuan and I have been busy looking for jobs recently, and it's inconvenient to travel back and forth, so we haven't been staying in the dormitory." The counselor breathed a sigh of relief and gently reminded me, "Looking for a job is a good thing. There have been strangers coming and going in the dormitory lately, so it's actually better not to go back, but you too need to be extra careful about your safety when you're outside." "Okay," I nodded obediently, starting to wonder if it might be loan sharks who had come looking for us. The next moment, the counselor cleared things up for me. That night she borrowed money on her phone, and later, probably unable to repay it, she borrowed a lot more from other places. What platform can lend 50,000 so quickly at once? Thinking of those fierce debt collectors in TV dramas, I refused to enter the dormitory until the very last day before leaving school. Another classmate told me what the counselor hadn't finished saying: "Don't underestimate the environment and atmosphere of university. Even though I don't know you, I've probably copied your homework. You might not recognize a person by name, but if you mention one of their characteristics, someone will always know a piece or two of gossip," especially when it comes to Zhong Qing, who is famous throughout the entire school. Apart from me and Su Yuan, the two roommates involved, there's also a girl who often drinks with Zhong Qing, and she knows more about this matter than most people. After piecing together various accounts, we managed to reconstruct the entire sequence of events during her time with the young master from Beijing. Zhong Qing's spending power was significantly elevated, and she would only settle for branded goods. After the breakup, her newly heightened vanity was further inflated with the strong support of the married man, Lu Yuan. The 50,000 yuan at that time likely wasn't borrowed, it was probably all the available funds she could muster. Later, she couldn't find anyone to satisfy her spending desires, so she started borrowing to repay loans, taking out what is known as a beauty loan. It was only after someone posted her nude photos on the confession wall that she became famous overnight. After successfully passing my thesis defense, I held my thesis in hand and hopped back to my long unseen dormitory. "That's so scary, let's not go back for now. What's going on the 5th floor?" As soon as I entered the building, I saw many girls lingering at the stairwell, constantly looking upward. A bad feeling welled up inside me, and I hurried toward the dormitory. Upon entering the 5th floor, a foul stench hit me, and the sound of mixed male and female arguments kept coming. In the final year of graduation, the school's entry and exit policies were no longer as strict as before, leading to a mix of people coming in and causing trouble, still trying to run. I'm telling you, if you don't pay back the money today, you're not going anywhere. The voice, damaged by excessive smoking and drinking, came out in a broken, hard-to-understand manner. Zhong Qing was utterly destitute, and the disdainful gazes surrounding the dormitory door left her at a loss. I have no money left on me. You can take anything you want from this dormitory, whatever it's worth. It's yours. Fuck you. You think you can get rid of me with a few pots and pans? You have to pay back the 200,000 today, or not only will everyone in the school see your photos, but you won't have a peaceful life either. A chaotic male voice, filled with malice, was mixed with the sound of things shattering and a girl's crying. I only borrowed 50,000 to buy a bag, and I've already paid back nearly 30,000 in the middle. How can there still be 200,000 left? Zhong Qing questioned in disbelief, then helplessly began to plead. I really don't have any money left. You can't force me to die, can you? There are many ways to repay the money, but I really can't come up with it right now. You really are a restless bitch, even if you're willing. I'd still find you disgusting. You reek so much I'm afraid I'll catch something. The man sat on my stool in the dormitory, spittle flying as he spoke. Cut the crap. Today, not a single cent less than 200,000. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving this dorm room, and don't even think about calling the police. You wrote the IOU yourself. It's legal and compliant. Paying back what you owe is only right and proper. I hid in the crowd, covering my nose while watching the drama unfold, but unexpectedly, Zhongqing pointed at me and shouted, Yanxi, you're my best friend, you have to help me. Before she could charge over, I covered my face with my thesis and turned to run. Just kidding. At a time like this, even if I were your dad, it wouldn't help. I ran faster than a rabbit, and by the time my brain caught up, I had already rushed downstairs. Even in an emergency, I couldn't forget to send Su Yuan a message, telling her not to return to the dorm. Fortunately, I had taken the valuable items from the dormitory when Zhongqing went out, otherwise I would have suffered a huge loss. I didn't dare to keep the clothes and bedding in the dormitory either, as I had no idea if using them would make me sick. Later, I heard that she asked her parents for money to cover the shortfall. As for where she went after graduation, I didn't pay any attention. I had already deleted her the moment I left the dormitory building. Infatuated with self-love and unaware of our own limits, for 4 years we indulged in mutual, unconditional praise and flattery, long since losing any sense of self-awareness. I suppose after graduation, there won't be any promising paths to take. In the second year after graduation, on May 20th, a friend sent me her wedding photos. The groom was still an old acquaintance, Green Hat brother, Lin Bo. I looked at the photo and wished the scumbag and the bitch a long and happy life together. In my heart, I prayed that the matchmaker god would definitely lock these two together, because letting them loose in the market would be a blow to humanity. A master once said, when you encounter an idiot, don't be polite, praise them into a complete fool, reject PUA. Starting with me, after hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.